Good evening and welcome. It is Wednesday, August 18th, and this is the Board of Architecture review for the city of Anderson.
We have one item for vendor. We'll talk about that at the end, if that's okay.
Okay.
From before the approval of minutes.
All right, we can move right into the business part of the meeting.
I'll pass around a color sample for you to look at regarding the exterior of the structure that we're going to be talking about. This is a continuation from last month. If you recall, at 213 West Whitney Street, the applicant requested to make several exterior changes to the property. The applicant, we didn't have enough information at the time, but what we found out after the fact is that he did submit the information in our online system. There was a glitch, so it was a problem on our end. So unfortunately, it caused him to wait an extra month, but we have the information now. So the applicant is requesting several exterior modifications to this property, which is the property you see on the overhead here, front view. You can see awnings. Second, this is a side view here. You can see that it has two different color brick applications on the property. The applicant's wishing to make several changes. One is to repaint the entire building and retaining wall on the property, the color extra white, which you see being passed around there now is a Sherwin-Williams color. And also to replace the awning in the same area as the previous awning, as you see right here. They're requesting a slate canvas color. This was presented to you last month, and I think you felt pretty comfortable with that. At the time, we thought that there may be signage placed on the awning. That's why we tabled it along with the rest of the items.
Yes.
But as you can see, in the rest of the application, they're also requesting to install signage on two walls of the building, non-lit aluminum. One sign facing Whitner Street, as you can see there, above the awning, so it's on the wall. The other one is actually facing the side of the building, facing toward downtown, facing eastward. Both of those, again, are non-lit aluminum. The sign facing Whitner Street will be 16 square feet in size, and the sign facing downtown area is 24 square feet, and both of those signs do meet the square footage requirements in our city sign guidelines. Now, regarding the paint, the historic district guidelines reference 3 sections. Use historic color schemes encouraged. Base or background colors should be muted, and reserve the use of bright colors to accent building features only. And as far as awnings are concerned, the guidelines reference the awnings by having compatible material construction to the style of the building, mount the awning and canopy to accentuate character-defining features, and use colors to tie the storefront together. As far as signage is concerned, sign material should be compatible with the building facade, and also use colors for the sign that are compatible with those of the building. So again, we have 3 requests for you tonight: painting the exterior of the building, all of it, that extra white, adding the slate colored awning on the front of the building, and adding the 2 aluminum signs. Any questions for the staff?
Let's take it, the color of the building, paint the bricks, the exterior white. White. Is there any concerns with the entire building? Any comments? Awning across the front of the building. Will there be any signage on the awning itself?
No, sir.
No signage.
The signs that you saw in your packet and what were presented will be the only signs on the building.
Okay.
No address.
Not to my knowledge. They did not indicate that. No, ma'am.
Concerns about the color? Everything's good?
Will the doors on the side be painted as well, or the color? Do you know if that?
That was not submitted as part of the sign application, so we're assuming that is not the case.
Okay. We have it.
What is?
That's the second, yours for seconds.
That's not this.
That's the next one, he's already
Okay.
changed.
The next one. It's the next item.
He's just confusing us.
So we have good color on the building, everybody agrees with that, and the awning, we like the color of the awning, and there'd be no signage on the awning itself. Any other questions or comments on it? Do I hear a motion? Motion from Jill, second from Amanda. Any further comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Okay, this item is regarding 211 East Benson Street, downtown support district. I'm going to pass around the color sample for you for the exterior part of the building as well. You can see on the overhead, this is 211 Benson Street. This is the front of the building that faces the street itself. This is the side of the building. Ignore this for a moment, this does not exist. And actually, this sign right here was taken down today, and actually we'll talk about that as part of the addendum tonight.
Okay.
So the sign does not exist at the current time. There's some, the business in there now is moving up the street. But for this particular case, the applicant is seeking approval to repaint the building and add a vinyl sign to the side of the building. The new paint will actually recover the existing cream portion of the building, the more white color you see being passed around. The building is actually connected to another piece that's natural brick that extends further back. But this request is just for the front and the side of the building that's actually painted now. So none of the rest of the building is. They're requesting the color that's being passed around now, which is the Benjamin Moore China White. In addition to the paint, they're requesting to install new signage on the western wall of the building. The signage will be a vinyl graphic. Now, the exact square footage has not been finalized yet. This is just here for display purposes and for you to get an idea of what the design will look like, what the colors will look like. Again, it's a vinyl graphic attached to the building. And the size and location of the sign will have to meet the city requirements. And as a matter of fact, this will probably have to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals, because the way our sign regulations read is that with this being a secondary wall, you cannot have a sign on the secondary wall if you have a sign on the front, on the primary wall, unless you have a parking lot. And you can see a parking lot here, but this is not part of their property. So they're going to be going before the Board of Zoning Appeals if this moves forward to seek a variance so they can add some sort of signage per the Board of Zoning's guidelines and also what the city's sign guidelines would allow as well. But we're bringing this to you tonight just to consider the material, the color, and the design. And if you do approve, again, it will be subject to the city sign guidelines and Board of Zoning Appeal approval. And then once the board again approves this, if they do, we will determine the size of the sign. I know that scale may be a concern based on what's currently on this building, so that will be discussed if you do approve the concept, and we'll move it forward from there. But again, this request involves two different pieces: the signage, also the paint, which you see being passed around before you tonight. The applicant is in attendance too, if you have any questions specifically.
Okay, let's take a look at the paint. The color of the paint is very similar to the color that exists right now. It's very neutral. Any questions or concerns or comments about the color of the paint? No comments on that? Okay, the sign. The color of the graphics in the sign contrasts well with the color of the brick, new color of the brick. Concern about having a sign on the side of the building?
And that will actually be painted on to the brick. I mean, on the paint, right?
It's vinyl.
You said vinyl.
Oh, it's going to be vinyl.
It will be attached.
Okay, so it could be removed.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the design looks nice. The scale was a little overwhelming for that building to me. I think the graphic itself is a nice design and color.
Would be any other signage on the building?
Currently, no. But the applicant, what's happening actually, the real estate office is occupying the back of the building. So ultimately, they plan to have another business up front. So conceivably, they would have another sign located generally where that sign is located. So that's where the area of concern is. But again, this building is set up a little differently. That's why there could be a hardship for additional signage. Maybe not to that scale, but additional signage. And if I didn't say that right, but that's what I'm thinking. The real estate office is currently in the back, future use for some other retail up front. Temporarily. Short term.
So what we're looking for tonight is to consider the color and the style of the graphics. And then they'll have to get a variance on the size and if we can put a sign on that side of the building.
Sign in the first place, and then we'll go from there with the size. So if you do approve the concept tonight and then ask the staff to make sure it meets the city's guidelines, if and when it does meet your approval and the Board of Zoning Appeals approval, that's what we'll do.
Okay, so it seems like everybody's likes the color of the graphic. Style. Any comments on the style of the graphic? Okay. What's on the sign on the side of the building?
I mean, I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
You know,
Okay.
the size, the scale is not up to us.
Not up to us,
So,
right.
it's not without it.
So, do we have a motion to approve color of the brick, color and the style of the graphic? Motion from Mary Lou. Second from Andy. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Mentioned one agenda item tonight. Again, it applies to the same building, actually. This sign was actually removed today. The Collect Teak business is moving from 211 East Benson to 112 East Benson, so just one block up. Now, this may not require any action unless you see fit, but I wanted to bring it to your attention tonight. Last September, you did approve the sign. It's moving one block up. Same historic district, same street. You may just want to take this as information that it's moving unless you need to vote on it at the new location. But again, very similar situation, one block up closer to the square.
The sign will remain the same colors and graphics?
Nothing will change.
Same body?
Is it past McDuffie Street, or is it?
It's between McDuffie and Main. So it's on closer to Main Street.
Okay, so on Benson Street.
Yes.
So, I mean, can we see the building that it's going to be on?
I don't have a picture of the building. I can provide that to you. But again, the building itself is higher in height, so it would be probably more in scale with that.
I mean, it's the same height as this building?
It's higher than, the building is higher,
All
yes.
those buildings,
Buildings, yeah, between that block are higher than these.
right, they're 2 or 3 stories, and, I mean, it just seems like that it
Yes.
might,
So the sign would be on the first story,
Correct.
on the facade of the first story.
is, you said it's one, I mean, do you know what building that, I'm thinking, there's the Blackley and there's,
Let's see.
Lilia, Noble Investments. Then there's a building next door to that. There's Anne Marie that they're redoing. The old Pilates. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it looks great on this building, and I'm sure on the other that we should see.
This is
Okay, so where would it
It
go?
would be mounted in bricks with
That is my understanding, yes.
trued out? Okay.
That it'll be like to the right of the door, or?
Don't know the exact location. To provide that information to you. They're moving their store to that location.
I think the scale of the sign here is probably more appropriate to the building it's moving to than it was here.
Yes.
That's why we wanted to bring it to you for information at first. I was like, if you wanted to vote on it, because again, this sign was approved, and from a scale perspective, that you are looking at something with more height. Yes, sir.
Are there any big concerns? Any concerns about moving this to go to the new building?
Again, it'll be up to you, the board, to vote if you wish, or just take it as information and allow them to move, because again, the sign was previously approved, just not at the new location.
I mean, I hate to hold them up, but I think it's important to know where it's going to be. You know, I mean, that's a very,
Are there certain locations where you prefer it to be, where I can convey that information to them?
can we see that?
Yeah, can you bring the,
Because
Show it on the screen.
Technology.
can you show it on the
You
screen?
could put it in the monitor down there, baby, and it would show up here.
if you could keep it
Yeah,
on the.
where you're not projecting from,
It's not gonna work.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is new school meets old school right here, guys.
So, I mean, there's awnings, and I know they're going to get new awnings, and there's awnings over here. So I guess I'm saying, you know, it's going to probably, like if they do it, it's going to almost touch the awnings. If it's on one of those sides, it's almost going to have to be, like maybe even over the front door.
I like the idea over the front door.
You know, centered in.
Yep, there's no awning.
I mean, I think it's.
Well, if they're gonna put an awning up, they're gonna have to come back before us to move the sign and to get an awning.
Right.
Correct.
I'm saying there's awnings on, that come right up to, on both sides of this building. So almost hit awnings. If, I don't know, I think it's important where it would be, or maybe to the right or the left of the front door. But, it's on this present building, it's off to the very edge. And that's my concern. Placement.
Think about approving it with a recommendation, they mount it above the entry door,
Or to the right or the left,
very close to that.
right, the door.
Can you put your phone up there again and bring that up? Okay, so between, there's two windows in the door, either one of those windows in the door.
So is there your
There might not be a
Right
room,
there, right there.
enough room over the door unless they did it way up, which might give them,
Gives you better exposure if it's a little bit higher. If it's anywhere in these area here between these two windows, what's your thoughts?
and if there's a, well, I'd have to, there's a surround around the door.
Soldier bricks, yes.
Yeah, so it'd have to be between that and, to the right of the windows.
Any other thoughts, concerns, recommendations?
I really think anywhere they wanted to put it within the
Center.
center of the building would be okay with me, but I agree with you, they probably would want to avoid either side if there's awnings there that would block it, so.
So we can say if we'll approve it with.
The suggestion.
If it's in its position between those two windows, close to that door, the entry door.
But not on the Confederate soldiers, you know.
So you're saying anywhere in here?
Anywhere in there, yes.
Or
I was
centered
thinking,
above.
I was
Centered
thinking
Above.
Above.
Look at
What
that.
about either side, above, is that what I'm hearing as well?
Yes.
No, our first recommendation would be centered over.
Above, centered over the entry door.
And if they need to go lower, make sure it's between the window and the door?
Yes.
On either side?
Either side.
Got it.
Do you know what size that sign is?
Yes. If you give me one moment, I can.
Okay.
And not on the soldiers. But hopefully they're going to do that. I hate to hold them up, so I think it would be
Yes.
good to.
The sign itself, the round part, is 46 high, 43, it's 46, 43, so you're looking at just under 4 feet, just under 4 by 4.
I mean, it's a big sign.
It's
It is.
closer than you think, yeah. And then with the poles on it, it extends out 43 inches.
So,
Good.
good.
Center section.
Do the brackets, can we see the picture of the sign again?
Yes. Oh, sorry about that.
Can you, yeah, even go back? Yeah, that gives us.
You can see the bracket surrounding it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because these are higher, and it's even taller with the brackets on them now.
You may have to modify the mounting bracket.
And that's a question we can have for them because they came to everybody discussed yesterday. They were just talking about how they needed a sign permit to move everything. So we're like, well, wait a minute, we're going to meet before the board. We'll run it by them as a courtesy and then see what your thoughts were on it. He said it was just removing it and replacing it. So I was assuming from that metal poles were going with it, bracket.
Yeah, it may require a different mounting bracket.
It may.
Yes. Okay.
what type of sign is that now? Is it like wood or?
I think it's a piece of wood.
It appears to be.
They've routed out the edge to make it look like bark.
I believe you're correct. Just
I wonder how it's mounted to the pipes.
It almost appears as though those goes through it.
Through it,
Mhm.
Oh, right.
like they drilled a hole. It's an attractive sign.
It is. It is.
Unusual.
It's just almost, you know, with the Georgian design of that building,
Mhm.
it almost seems like it might have to go above the door.
That's what I'm thinking is it would probably fit in that protruding area of brickwork above the door much better than beside it.
And because, I mean, it is a big scale sign.
Mm-hmm. Any other concerns? There we go.
Sorry, I just brought this to you as a courtesy. I didn't realize it was going to garner this much. That's good.
Yeah. It's a nice looking sign.
It is.
And clearly from, you can see that those pipes do go through that sign. So it would be, see the same thing from each side. Okay. Any other discussion on it?
Any to know how big that space is, center part of that building.
Even if, like they've done here, obviously, or it appears that there's that it's not flat. It looks like maybe the bottom bracket goes back a little bit. No, well, let's see, we have the dimensions.
It's,
I think they could work that out.
Building one more time. What's going on with your phone?
I mean, if it were centered over the front door and the bottom bracket had to be
Bracket is
recessed in
inches.
an inch or something, whatever
Right.
that is, they could just put a plate behind it.
Good. This is, yes, they can. And it's roughly, that's his bracket, you're probably looking at about 52 inches of all that. And that area that protrudes out in the building, probably at least 4 feet.
Can we see the picture one more time on your phone? No, your phone.
I'm sorry?
Your phone? Can we see your phone?
Yeah. You could count the bricks.
You can gauge it by the size of the door, probably. You can gauge it by the size of the door.
We can count the,
You actually count the bricks.
count the bricks.
Could. We could count. Oh, oh man, look at how many bricks are there. And you think it would fit on that?
I do, I think it'll be close, but you were saying if they had to put some type of blocking behind it at the bottom,
Right
it
on the
would
bottom.
work out.
Architecture of the building and everything, that really is where, because it's so big, is where it's going to almost have to go. I don't know if we want to
Not
say
see anything by
either
the
or.
sides.
I just think
Okay.
I mean,
Is
do
it just symmetrical design? The building is so symmetrical,
Mhm.
just calls for.
It'd be off center, yes. Do we have a motion?
Point of clarification, now we're centered over the door.
We have a motion to
That's-
mount the sign centered over the door.
In that middle part of the building.
Yeah. Do we have a motion? Motion from Mary Lou, second from Jill. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Anything further?
That's it for the staff.
That's it? Yeah, need to review the minutes. Take a few minutes and review the minutes.
I motion we approve the minutes.
Motion, second from Mary Lou.
Take more time.
Those in favor? Opposed? Minutes approved from last month. Do I hear a motion to close the meeting?
New, right?
Jill, second. Mary Lou.
I don't
All those in favor of closing the meeting?
Break that front up.
know because of the way it goes over.
Meeting is adjourned.